podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is Platinum Rose Lady welcoming you to Ring Around the Rosie for Wednesday, January 24th, 2018. As I said, I am Platinum Rose Lady, also known as Kim Brown. And I am doing my show again, my second episode of my podcast for wrestling. Woohoo! I'm really excited. And I hope everybody enjoyed my first show last week. It was really kind of weird to do that. I was like, I've been a fan for so long, and it never occurred to me to do a podcast until my guy was like, you've been a fan for so long, you should really just talk about, what you feel about things. You're passionate. And I was like, okay, give it a try. Well, what's been going on around here in New England that you guys would be interested in? Well, there's this whole football thing with the Patriots, our little team up here, the little team that could, I know. Everybody else in the country besides people from New England are now going, shut up. Yeah, I know. But, haters gonna hate and winners gonna win. Ha. To be perfectly honest, I don't watch football for the most part because I don't know what's going on most of the time. That's why I like wrestling. It's two people kicking, or three people, or however many people kicking the living shit out of each other. I can get that. I understand that. I can get behind that. Anything that has too many rules like football, I just, can't deal. Too many rules, can't deal with it, just not my style. But of course, the thing is, you kind of have to pay attention to the Patriots right now since they are going to the Super Bowl against the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's, it's exciting and all that, I guess, if you're into, the whole football thing. If you're not into the whole football thing, you kind of learn up here to keep your mouth shut about it, because people give you really dirty looks. And so, you're just like, yay, yeah, go Pats, whatever. Seriously, I do wish them all the luck in the world. But, obviously we have to talk about I'd love to talk about all the good, great, fun things in wrestling, because there's always something exciting going on and cool and stuff like that. Unfortunately, right now, before we get to the wrestling stuff, we kind of have to talk about the elephant in the room. And that whole thing being the whole Enzo Amore problem that the WWE, had, really. I don't think it's a problem it's not their problem anymore, because they did, they let him go. Enzo has been accused of rape by a young woman in Arizona. Allegedly, this crime happened in October. And I am not, when it comes to the whole, everybody, the second you say certain words, they're, I don't want to use the word trigger words, but, people have very strong opinions about certain things when you bring them up, when you mention specific topics. People have very strong feelings, and I know that people have very strong feelings about rape. And the second that someone's accused of something as awful as rape, some people have a very, strong attitude instantly, whether or not the person is actually guilty or not. Some people hear that someone's been accused and their first attitude is, that scumbag, just throw him off a cliff or whatever. But I'm not going there. I'm not touching that, because I don't know everything that is on the legal side of stuff. Nobody does, really. The police haven't really said anything. The police in Arizona have said they are looking into what happened, because the young lady that is accusing Enzo of this, posted some rather graphic stuff online about what she alleges happened. And I'm not putting up links for that, because if you want to look at it, you can go look at it yourself. You're all adults, I'm assuming. I hope you're all adults, because no kids should listen to the language I use on this show. But, you know, I just kind of feel like it's not my place to say, well, I believe one side or I believe the other side. Not yet anyway, because I don't know all the facts. And unlike other people, I do try and kind of wait and see, okay, let's try and figure out what's going on before we start, you know, screaming bloody murder, you know. I mean, I do kind of think that people should go back to being that way, but, you know, I don't know if that's ever going to happen anymore. It seems like lately people just want, you know, you hear somebody may have done something and people are already like asking for their heads on a pike, you know, whatever. The thing is, this put the WWE in the worst position they could be in at the worst time that it could happen. All of this stuff breaks on Monday when the WWE is first gone to by the media. The media went to them and said, hey, do you know one of your guys has been accused of rape? To which apparently the WWE was like, what? Because, I mean, some people have said, you know, the whole thing about Enzo being suspended and then Enzo being fired, some people's attitude was, you know, whatever happened to Innocent before, you know, and, you know, innocent until proven guilty. How can they fire him, you know, when he hasn't been charged with anything, blah, 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 blah. And I can understand that. I understand where they're coming from. I do. The thing is, from what I've been able to determine, the reason that the WWE fired him is not because of the act, the alleged act, but because he knew that the police were investigating him in October, or possibly November, I'm not sure which. I think in October, though, and didn't tell the WWE, didn't go to his employers and say, yeah, I'm being, you know, I'm being accused of something and I wanted to give you the heads up about it. And then they get blindsided on the day that they're going to be having the 25th anniversary special of Raw. It's not really very surprising that Enzo got the boot. I mean, could there be other mitigating factors into that? You know, I can't, I mean, I wasn't in the locker rooms. I can't say. I can say what I've heard. You know, other people have reported, and it's not exactly a fucking state secret, that Enzo didn't really have a lot of friends backstage, that he was a controversial person, that he did things that pissed people off, and not in a, oh, you know, kind of, oh, you knuckle knob, you prankster, you joker kind of way. No, in the, you know, you have to dress in the hall because nobody wants to share a locker with you way. And, you know, I mean, that ain't good. You know, you can say what you want and you can say how things turned out, but, you know, I don't think there were a lot of people from the sound of it that were too sorry to see him gone. I mean, I know people have to toe the company line and say whatever they're supposed to say or what they're told to say, but I mean, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think about this thing that he's been accused of. I hope it's not true, simply because I can't stand the idea of anybody doing that. You know, I can't deal with the idea of hurting another person like that. I think that's awful, and I hope it's not true. But if it did happen, then he should be punished within the fullest extent of the law, and I hope the person that was hurt, you know, gets some help and some, you know, and I hope they recover from it. Like I said, if this is all what actually happened, we don't know yet. So, there's that. On to some WWE news before we get to the results stuff for this week, because I figured I'd actually go over that stuff a lot more this week in detail because it's such a big deal. Stephanie McMahon has announced what her role in the upcoming Royal Rumble is going to be, and thank God and any other deity, and if you happen to worship another deity, thank them too, that it's not going to be that she is going to be involved in the 30-woman Royal Rumble match. No, she's going to be she's going to be at the commentators table. So, thank you, God. I don't know. Was that a little too bitchy? Probably. I don't care. Yeah, actually, wait a minute. Now that I think about it, that means we're going to have to listen to Stephanie. So have the aspirin on hand. If nothing else, you can take the cotton from the bottle and stick it in your ears. So there's that. Obviously, Raw was really special this week, or it should have been a lot more special than, it was special, don't get me wrong. It was special, and there were some amazing moments, but there were more than a few moments that were like, what? And things we've found out since that really made me kind of go, okay, So Raw was coming from two places, on Monday night, which was January 22nd, 2018. The Raw 25-year anniversary special, in two places, including the Manhattan Center and the Barclays Center, both in New York. Now this is something that I want to bring up, and it's a completely me thing. And I admit that. I have seen more than a few wrestling shows where they've done this whole multi-venue thing. Obviously, WrestleMania 2, you had multiple locations. I believe one of the Starcades they did that. And, obviously here with Raw celebrating 25 years on the air. Notice not all of those 25 years were spent on USA, but we're just gonna, we'll just push that under the rug, and I guess it doesn't matter anymore because Spike TV doesn't exist anymore. Actually, when they started, wasn't it still TNN? I think. I'm not sure. Because Spike doesn't exist anymore because now it's the Paramount Network. Okay. Anyway. I just think that the whole multi-venue thing, I've just never been able to get behind it. I feel like the whole idea of the multi-venue thing is, that you can have all these people because you have some people over here and some people over here. Okay, and I understand you have video up so people can see what's going on in different places. I get all that. But the simple fact of the matter is that no matter what you do, you're going to wind up disappointing some people because some people are going to be at building A and they're going to want to see the people that were at building B and vice versa. And now this is starting to sound like an algebra problem, and fuck knows we don't need that. Ugh. And me and math are not friends. From what I heard, quite a few people were extremely PO'd with the WWE, specifically people who were at the Manhattan Center, which was done up very retro Raw with even with the Ico Pro banners and all this stuff, which was neat. I mean, it was kind of time warpy, but it was still pretty cool. For one thing, I heard some of these people paid, I was hearing numbers about $400 for seats, and I'm like, are you fucking for real? I'm sorry, the day I pay $400 for a seat for a wrestling show, I better get to go backstage, and me and Roman Reigns better have some alone time. Hi, Roman. But anyway, moving on. We're over here now. I feel like for $400 and then to watch a lot of stuff happen on TV, watching stuff that happened at the Barclays Center, I can understand why people were pissed. I really can. So, let's get to our discussion about the actual show itself. The commentating team at the Manhattan Center, since unfortunately, Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan are not with us any longer. Rest in peace to both of them. We had the team of Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross. And I have to say, both of them looked terrific. They both looked fantastic. Jerry looked like he'd slimmed down a little bit. Not that he was chunky to begin with or anything like that, but he looked like he'd lost a little more weight. And Jim Ross looked great. It was really fabulous to see them both on TV. That was very, very cool. We have what's going on at the Barclays Center, which is Stephanie and Shane McMahon in the ring, and I'm going, oh no. I'm like, oh, come on, really now? I mean, I know they have a reason for being there. I'm just hoping it won't take us 40 minutes to find out what it is. And actually, for once, they don't seem to be in character. At least Stephanie doesn't seem to be in character, as in I don't want to punch her in the face the second she opens her mouth. So that's nice. But they talk about how they thank the fans for being there and how much the fans mean to us, and all that kind of stuff like that, which is nice. And Shane actually did a nice classy thing, bringing up thanking the people that work in the back, the people we don't see. I mean, he obviously thanked the wrestlers and the referees and all those folks, but he brought up people in the back, people that don't get seen on camera unless they're running for their lives because there's a backstage segment where somebody's kicking the shit out of somebody else or whatever. And I thought that was nice. They ran a video package of all these incredible Raw moments to one of the best songs ever. My Songs Know What You Did in the Dark by Fall Out Boy, which I love that song. I love Fall Out Boy. I think they're awesome. And they bring out finally their dad, Vincent McMahon. Vince comes out to the ring doing his usual Vince strut. And the crowd is actually really receptive and really happy to see him and very nice. I thought it was extremely sweet. Thank you, Vince chant started. I was like, oh, that's really nice. I was like, that's sweet. And Vince actually seemed kind of like surprised and pleased by the whole thing, and it actually felt really nice. I mean, I know that New York and Massachusetts have this whole New York Massachusetts thing, but I have to be honest. I mean, when it comes to, when push comes to shove, New York is a really great place, and it's got really passionate fans, and that's a really great thing. Like I said, there's this whole New York, Massachusetts, especially New York, Boston thing. But, when something goes wrong in New York, people from Massachusetts try and help out as much as they can. And when something goes terribly wrong in Massachusetts and, in Boston, we've had a lot of support from New York sports teams, and that's really awesome and cool. So, we have like a moment of love here, and that's really cool. Getting back to the show, Shane and Stephanie present Vince with a plaque for Raw, for 25 years of Raw. So they're like, here, Dad, a plaque. To say Vince is not impressed is, Vince is mildly unimpressed. Yeah. Like the Pope is mildly Catholic, like that. And Vince proceeds to go on a Mr. McMahon-esque tirade. And the asshole chant starts because it is still New York. I'm sorry. Bad me. It was funny, and the crazy thing is now I'm sitting there watching this with my fella, and we're watching what's going on, and we kind of were just earlier on in the evening, right when the show started, not right when it started, pretty much when Vince came out. I looked over at him and he looked at me, and I was like, he said, when do you think Austin's coming out? And I said, 8:13. 8:13, glass smashes. And out comes the rattlesnake Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I'm like, holy shit, I totally called that. It was the funniest fucking thing. I just said 8:15 out of nowhere, and it was like 8:15. I was like, damn, I'm good at this. Why can't I pick horses like that for the Derby? It's so embarrassing. And out to the ring comes, obviously, the Texas Rattlesnake, looking terrific. And, doing the whole climbing on the turnbuckles and flipping people off and the whole thing. Stephanie actually got out of the ring quickly. I was like, yeah, that pretty much tells you what's going to happen next. Because we can't do we obviously can't have Stone Cold give her the stunner because it's a family show now, damn it all to hell. Vince throws Shane under the bus so fast, I'm surprised he didn't get whiplash. And Shane and Austin kind of face off for a second, and then Austin raises Shane's hand and then gives him a stunner, which Shane sells as only Shane McMahon can sell things. Vince and Austin share a beer and hugs, which are disturbing. And then Vince gets a stunner, Shane gets another stunner, and as I mentioned, Stephanie does not get a stunner, and I'm sad. Somewhere my mom is listening, somewhere my mom is doing some totally mom thing, and all of a sudden she just looked up, and when she's saying something I disapprove of, I know she is. It's that whole mom sense thing. We come back to an actual wrestling match, and we have Absolution in the ring, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, along with Alicia Fox and Nia Jax. Obviously Paige is not wrestling right now because of a neck injury that I'm not sure if it's career ending as far as other places. I know in the WWE they don't want her to wrestle right now, and that's sad, even though I think her gimmick right now, I really hate her because she's supposed to be a heel. Real life Paige is from what I've heard, a super cool person, so I feel really bad. On the face side of things, we have Asuka. Although calling Asuka a face is kind of strange. Asuka's like a force of nature. I mean, you know what I mean? She's Asuka, and that's it. That's all you really have to say. Asuka, who is teaming with Bayley, Mickie James, and Sasha Banks, for what turns out to be a pretty good match, as you can't be surprised at that. They wind up, the faces wind up winning because, Alicia Fox taps out from the bank statement put on by, Sasha. In a move that should have surprised absolutely nobody, showing the fact that the Rumble's coming up and nobody's really friends at this point, Asuka then beats the living shit out of all of her partners. But it's not a complete beatdown because Sasha puts up a tiny bit of a fight more than the others, but Asuka still shows that she's Asuka. She's Asuka. When I used to play D&D, we had this saying in our campaigns, fuck you, it's magic. Pretty much nowadays in wrestling, it's fuck you, it's Asuka. That's pretty much all you have to say. Kurt Angle is in his office talking with one of the referees when we have one of the many guests we're going to see throughout the evening for, people remembering Raw from way, back in the day. Some of it's back in the day, some of it's way back in the day. And we get one of those guests in the form of the coach, Jonathan Coachman, who I realize I haven't missed at all. And more people start filling up the room, including Harvey Whippleman, who looks like seriously, Harvey, do you eat ever? I mean, I can't believe that someone could be that thin and not be ill. I'm obviously he must be pretty healthy, but he's always been skinny, but I'm like, what's your secret, man? Seriously. Followed by the Brooklyn Brawler. Wow. That's a name I haven't seen for a while. And, followed up from Teddy Long, and then Brother Love. Wow. Sorry, I take a sip of water. The crazy thing about the whole Brother Love character, I'm kind of like, at the time when they debuted that character, that kind of stuff made sense. You know, we had all the PTL scandals earlier on. You look at it now and you're like, when was this ever funny? Was this ever funny? I never found it funny, but that's just me. And what's a party without somebody showing up to really make the room go all kinds of awkward, because the final person to join this happy little retinue is the boogeyman. Oh boy. What can you say about the boogeyman besides ew? Ew, ew, ew. I pride myself on being, you know, an individualist and not being a girly girl. I wouldn't call myself a tomboy because I just don't think I fit that category either. But I'm not exactly what you'd call a girly girl. I'm not into shopping. I'm not into clothes, really. You know, shopping for clothes and makeup and all that crap. I can't deal with it. But when it comes to certain things, I'm all like, ew, 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 ew. And one of those things is worms. Ugh. I can't deal with worms, man. I'm not, like, afraid of them. I mean, if I see one on the sidewalk, I'll be like, oh, hey, worm, and I'll just kind of, like, step around it and stuff like that. I'm not going to smush it or anything weird like that, because it's, like, you know, a living thing, and I'm, you know, like, going to be respectful of it. But I'm just like, that guy has worms in his mouth. That, I can't even, that is beyond unsanitary. Oh, my gosh, I can't deal. And I just, like, held my notebook up in front of my face and I said, tell me when it's over. And my guy's sitting next to me going, my eyes are shut. What do you want me to do? So we kind of just had to listen by sound. And we get the announcement that The Undertaker will be back once we come back from commercial. So instantly I start paying a shit ton more attention. And we first get a video montage of The Undertaker, of, you know, his many looks and the way the character has changed over the years. And then we're at the Manhattan Center, and there's the gong. And my guy has asked me on more than one occasion, he's like, what is it about The Undertaker? Why? He's just like, why? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I know, but I don't know, you know? It's just one of those, I know there's other girls out there. I know there's other women out there right now, and you're nodding your heads. I know you are. There's just something about that character. It's so dark. It's mysterious. It's compelling. It's sexy. And I don't get it, and I don't get why it's sexy, but it is. The Undertaker comes out to the ring and walks down to the ring, in the light, which I was like, what the hell? I was really confused about that. I was like, why didn't they shut all the lights off and just have a spotlight on him or something like that? Why is he coming out in the light? This looks really strange. He gets in the ring and starts speaking and goes into a, I don't know what it was. I mean, he's talking about the fact that it's, you know, been 25 years of kicking ass and 25 years of digging holes and burying people that dared to cross him and all this stuff like that. He pulled men from the pedestals they were on. People like Stone Cold and Mick Foley, his own flesh and blood, half-brother, Kane, and, you know, talking about all these other people. And the last thing he says is that all these people tried and they all failed. And on this sacred ground, he says that to all who have fallen, it's time to rest in peace. And we get commercial. I mean, it was interesting and held my attention, definitely. And I really wanted a cigarette after it was done, and I don't smoke. But I don't know what the fuck it meant. I really, honest to blog, don't. I was like, Did he just retire or not? Or what? I don't know. I also want to bring up real quick, there was a guy in the audience facing the camera, one of the fans in the crowd, and all I could think, every time the camera focused where you could see that guy, all I could think was, hello, Newman. I'm very sorry, sir, whoever you are. I'm sure you're a lovely person, but you do look like Wayne Knight. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm sure, you know. Anyway, coming back, we find a card game going on with the APA, Ron Simmons and Bradshaw, surprise, who are playing cards with Heath Slater and Rhino. I will be the first to admit I know jack fucking shit about poker. Poker, I hardly know her. But I'm Chang. Sorry. I know that joke is older than most of you, so. It was just the usual kind of APA card-playing comedy stuff until a very big wad of cash is dropped onto the table and the camera slides on over to who it is. And it's, of course, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, who still has the $1 Million belt. I think that thing is surgically welded to his shoulder, you want my honest opinion. Although I do have to say, Ted's looking awesome. I think he's like in his 60s and he looks great. Good for him. Seriously taking care of yourself there, dude. Pretty awesome. We have a segment introducing the various and sundry, general managers of Raw, including John Laurinaitis. Ugh. Who was followed out by William Regal. I gotta say, William Regal, seriously, loving the little gray at the temples. It's very, very nice. It looks very nice on you. It's very Doctor Strange. I really like it. Following Mr. Regal was Eric Bischoff, and somehow I managed to tamp down my gag reflex and not puke all over the carpet. So, yay me. And we got another general manager who actually is a general manager right now in Daniel Bryan. Daniel shook hands with all the other, general managers and then had his entrance promptly interrupted by The Miz and The Miztourage. And this got all kinds of fucking awkward. There was a very unpleasant stare down between The Miz and Daniel Bryan where I'm just sitting there going, hit him, Daniel, hit him, please, hit him, I know you can hit him, but he didn't. That sucked. Next up was the Intercontinental match with Roman Reigns, as the champion facing The Miz as challenger. A lot of back and forth in this match, and the end of the match being the skull-crushing finale by Miz, who winds up stealing the Intercontinental Championship from Roman Reigns. And why do I say stealing? Because Miz managed to get one of the turnbuckles off during a moment of confusion when the Miztourage were running interference for him, and he managed to drive Roman's head into said. So my night's fucking ruined. I was like, I said a lot of things that you know those 7 words you can't say on TV? I said those a lot. Because Miz is just such a fucking slimy little weasel. I really shouldn't call him that, though, because weasels actually serve a purpose. Miz is just such an annoying little fuck bucket. I can't stand his ass. Hopefully this means that Roman will now just move on and, capture the world title soon enough. Hopefully. I was not fucking happy. And to be perfectly honest, Booker T, no, I don't gotta love it. Booker T's out there saying, oh, you gotta love The Miz and all that. You know what? No, I don't. I don't fucking love The Miz. I think The Miz is a fucking jerk. I think The Miz is a fucking slimy, big-mouthed jerk. So, there. I'm sorry. I think I got a little bit heated. I'm sorry. but he is a total fuck bucket. More hype about other people coming up in the show, including a reunion of Degeneration X, which takes us into a commercial. We come back from commercial into the poker game, which is still going on, and now there are more people involved in said, including the Usos, Jeff Hardy, who, even though Matt is now woken Matt Hardy, at least Jeff, thank goodness, so far does not look like he looked in TNA back when Matt was like broken Matt Hardy, and Jeff looked like he'd been bit by a fucking walker and was turning into a fucking zombie. At least Jeff's still good looking, so there's that. And we also got someone we haven't seen for a while. Montel Vontavious Porter has joined up to play some cards, so it's nice to see MVP back. And he manages to actually win the hand of the round of poker. I think it's called a hand? I don't know. Like I said, I know fuck all about poker. I'm sorry. In the ring, we have the Peep Show set up. No, not that Peep Show. Settle down. The Peep Show that is hosted by Christian. I still don't get the whole Peep thing. I don't. I mean, I know what it's supposed to be and all that, but I'm sorry, when I think Peep, I think those little marshmallow birds that you can't kill. You know? Have you ever tried to destroy a Peep? There's a shit ton of online stuff of people trying to destroy Peeps, shooting them, running them over, you know, doing all this shit to them, and the only thing I've seen where you can actually fucking destroy one of these things is like dipping it in like the fucking liquid nitrogen. I'm sorry, I see stuff like that and I'm like, people eat those things? You know, if it can actually sprung back up into looking its original shape when it's run over by a car, what do you think that's doing in your stomach? I don't like marshmallows, so, you know, it's just, anyway. Christian is hosting the Peep Show, and his guests are Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins. And that goes about as well as you think it's going to go when you let Jason Jordan near a mic. The bar wind up making their appearance and making their presence known, which turns into a big, enormous fracas. And, of course, we have a big brawl between the four guys, which doesn't really surprise absolutely anybody. And since they've got a match this weekend at the Rumble, we all knew it was going to happen. Backstage, Alexa Bliss gives an interview about the upcoming first-time women's Royal Rumble match. And her interview is interrupted by Charlotte and Ric Flair. Basically both Flairs showing Alexa that, you know, you might be champion, you know, you might think you're all that, and you're not, really. Although simply the fact that watching Charlotte and Alexa Bliss in the same shot is hilarious. Because it just shows what a flippin' hobbit Alexa Bliss is. I mean, not that she's not a pretty girl. I mean, and not that she's not an amazing wrestler, and very good on the mic and very good at making people, you know, hate her character and such, because, man, I can't stand Alexa Bliss. But it was really weird watching Charlotte and her in the same camera shot, because that was weird. It was like watching Lord of the Rings again or something. We have, more stuff going on in the poker game, including the fact that, man, this poker game is like turning into like, you know, this is the song that never ends. There's just more and more people getting added on. We now have Natalia playing cards, and the team of Titus Worldwide, Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews, and Dana Brooke doing her best Miss Hancock impression. I think, or Alexandra York or whatever. It's not going well for Heath. He's lost a ton of money from the sound of things. But now we have another match to look forward to. And the match is between Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy at the Hammersmith. Okay. Bray Wyatt. I just have this whole thing. I love Lawler's remark about how people should be quiet during Bray's entrance, because whenever Bray has the mic and whenever he starts with his whole rambling blah blah eater of worlds blah blah stuff, I just want to stand up and scream, "Okay, you're evil. We get it." You know, it's like, oh my gosh. You know, it's like, dude, there is such a thing as trying too hard. You know, it's like, really, seriously, I'm just saying, Darth Vader had a black outfit and a breathing problem, and he turned it into being one of the baddest ass motherfuckers in the galaxy. Tone it down. Anyway, so we have a match between Bray Wyatt and Woken Matt Hardy, whatever the fuck that means, with Matt and his Sweeney Todd hair, and a whole bunch of delete stuff from the audience and Matt, which I so don't get. I don't get this. I know what it is, because I've seen stuff from TNA online, because goodness knows I wasn't watching it on TNA. But I'm just like, wow. You know, it's really, I mean, it is entertaining in a what the fuck is he doing way. But anyway, long story short, Bray Wyatt winds up winning the match because he does, with the Sister Abigail move. We then have a cavalcade of lovely lady wrestlers coming to the stage so that people can see them again and realize how amazing they are. Which is awesome and cool, including, Nikki and Brie Bella. I have to say this, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, which anybody who knows me now just went, oh no, what the fuck is she gonna do? Brie Bella makes me nuts. And I mean that in the nicest possible way, simply because I'm like, that woman had a baby. Not all that long ago, that woman had a baby. That woman has that body after having a baby. Damn. All apologies to Ron Simmons. Also joining the ladies on stage was Maurice, looking very glowy because she's obviously carrying a child. Kelly, Lillian Garcia, Jacqueline. How does Jacqueline manage to have, I mean, she's, wow. She's a great looking lady and she's an awesome wrestler and she could definitely kick my ass, but I'm like, how is she more blessed chest-wise now than she was back then? How did that happen? I mean, she was, really amazingly built back then. She's more amazingly built now. That, I'm confused and jealous. Tori Wilson, Michelle McCool, Terry Runnels. I was so happy to see Terry. Terry's always been one of my faves because she's just so beautiful and, from what I've heard, a very nice person. Maria Kanellis, who is also carrying a little person inside of her and looking fantastic. And finishing, last lady to come out, of course, the amazing Trish Stratus, who looks unbelievable. I mean, wow. Holy cow. She looks incredible. I was kind of surprised Lita wasn't there. I mean, I gotta be honest. I mean, I know maybe backstage it would have been awkward. I don't know. I mean, maybe it would have been. I mean, I don't know. But, I was just kind of like, okay, no Lita. Alright, that's, alright. We have another commercial break. Coming back from commercial, we get Elias, and he is walking in the back, and he has a meeting with Chris Jericho, and it doesn't go well for Elias in the fact that he winds up on the list. I can completely understand why he's on the list, because he's a total douche nozzle, but, he manages to make it out to the ring even after this crushing blow to his ego, and does his whole, singing thing where he sings about how the place where he is sucks and all that. And we get interrupted by John Cena, who is greeted by the New York crowd the way John Cena is usually greeted by the New York crowd. Stay classy, New York. The face-off in the ring winds up turning physical and ends a lot more surprisingly than you think it would, and that's with a low blow from Elias. And it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the match between the two of them this weekend at the Royal Rumble. I don't know if they're going to actually give Elias the win over him, but we'll have to wait and see, I guess. In the poker game that's still going on, we now have the New Day. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, this poker game's like the fucking TARDIS. It's like, bigger. It just keeps getting bigger, but nobody seems to be, like squished for anything like that. Heath Slater winds up having a full house, which I guess is good. I don't know. Dana Brooke insists that he's cheating, and when he stands up all outraged, a whole bunch of cards fall out of his lap. It's one thing to cheat. It's another thing to cheat poorly. Bradshaw yells at them to knock it off, and Ron Simmons says that if they're going to fight, they should go fight in the ring. So Heath and Rhino and Titus Worldwide wind up leaving to go do that. And Ted DiBiase shows that he has a royal flush, which apparently beats everything. Like I said, don't know anything about poker. And, wins more money because somebody called the $1 Million Man needs more money. Right. Welcome to America. And of course we get what we've been waiting for most of the evening. I'm sure some people have anyway. Ron Simmons giving out with a damn. I have to say something that I never noticed before. And I'm really kind of like, I never noticed that. That's weird. Does anybody else see a resemblance between Ron Simmons and William Marshall? And I know some people just went, who? Which is a shame. William Marshall was a really awesome actor. He passed away in the early 2000s. Probably best known among those of us who are into classic Star Trek, as playing Dr. Richard Daystrom in the episode The Ultimate Computer. He was also the star of the blaxploitation classics. Your interpretation of that is however you want to take it. Blackula and Scream, Blackula, Scream. I never noticed before that Ron bears a more than passing resemblance to him. It struck me that during that show, I was like, that's weird. I've never noticed that before. Anyway, back from commercial, we have Mark Henry running into the Godfather, and the Godfather introducing Mark to the lady at his side, a woman named Olivia, who Mark thinks is one of the Godfather's hoes, but it turns out that she's the Godfather's wife. Wah, wah, wah. Moving on from that comedy, we have Rhino and Heath Slater in the ring against Titus Worldwide, and this breaks into a double disqualification because the Dudley Boys show up. And everyone seems to be kind of like, okay, now what happens? Oh, wait, somebody needs to go through a table. Let's have Heath do it. So he gets tossed into the ring and gets 3D'd through a table. Backstage, we have SmackDown champion AJ Styles, who is being interviewed by Mean Gene Okerlund, to which AJ Styles busts into the whole, let me tell you something, Mean Gene type thing from, doing a passable Hulk Hogan impression. I'm not going to do it because I'll start coughing. I do want to say in that one moment, it does seem like AJ Styles turned into a 9-year-old boy. He just was so excited. It was cute. Oh, it was adorable. I just thought it was sweet. Back at the Hammersmith, we have the arrival of D-Generation X in the persons of Shawn Michaels and Triple H, who are the first to come out to the ring and have a lot of banter going on. During the banter, they're talking about The other members of DX that aren't here, they happen to bring up a few people, including Ravishing Rick Rude and China. Anybody else really fucking surprised Triple H brought up China's name? Because I was like, wow, that actually happened. Huh. Next come out the New Age Outlaws, the Badass Billy Gunn, and the Road Dogg Jesse James doing their whole shtick. And following them was X-Pac. X-Pac, 123 Kid, 6-Pac, however you want to put it. I have to say, Sean Waltman looked great. Sean was one of the favorite wrestlers of my guy, my fella, when he watched wrestling more often. He doesn't really watch it as much as I do, anymore. And he was a big fan of Sean's, and Sean, X-Pac, has, that dude's been through a lot, and it was really good to see him back and to see him looking so great. So, yay to him. But they can't have a celebration without the bad guy, and the bad guy is here, Scott Hall. We had Scott got in the ring during the commercial and comes out doing the whole hey yo thing. They introduced him as Razor Ramon, and we get the whole Too Sweet deal, which brings out the Balor Club, Finn Balor and Gallows and Anderson. One of these things is not like the others. One of these things has hair and the other ones don't. I'm sorry. That was really bitchy. I was kind of like, we're not actually going to have a punch up, are we? Not with this would be bad. But everything's cool. DX throws up the Too Sweet sign to Balor Club, and everything seems like it's going to be okay until the Revival come out. And Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson decide to come out to the ring and be all like, ooh, look at us, we're all bad, and, we're all really tough guys, and blah, blah. And they wind up getting their lunch handed to them by the Balor Club with a pin on Dash Wilder. DX and the club are in the ring together, and then, for some reason other than I can't quite figure out, other than complete fucking insanity, Scott Dawson decides he's going to show that his dick works, but apparently his brain doesn't, as he grabs Scott Hall and turns him around. Scott throws his toothpick in his face, and he winds up getting hit by an X Factor from X-Pac, and then everybody does their finishing moves all over the Revival, and they're told that they and we can suck it if we're not down with that. As usual, as those of us who remember when saying stuff like that was like, oh, I can't believe they said that, yet some of us do remember those days, kids. Some of us were alive when that stuff was going on. Back at the other location, we have Kurt Angle pretty much bringing friggin' everybody down to the ring. I mean, everybody. Legends, current people, pretty much damn near everybody. Excuse me. Down to the ring at the Barclays Center. So that we can have a segment with Brock Lesnar, Kane, and Braun Strowman. Kurt talks for a little while and then introduces Braun Strowman, introduces Kane, and they come out and do a lot of macho posturing shit, which gets interrupted by, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and etc. blah blah, yak yak, Brock Lesnar. This, to the surprise of absolutely nobody, turns into an absolute clusterfuck, with lots of punching, lots of wailing on people, tons of finishing moves, and, Brock Lesnar actually winding up going through a table via a running power slam from Braun Strowman. And the show ends. Okay, I'm not saying that it wasn't an interesting show. I'm not saying it wasn't a fun show. I am saying I'm fucking pissed off that Roman lost his belt. It was good. I enjoyed it. I would have liked a few little things. For one, I knew Kevin Nash was not going to be there. Kevin had put up something on Twitter saying he couldn't make it because he's recently had knee surgery. Get well soon, big man. And, traveling with knee surgery, especially with planes now where they squish everybody in, that's not really conducive. So, no Kevin, which sucks. No Big Sexy, that stinks. Bret Hart was not there, and I really don't see how you can have a Raw 25, anniversary celebration without the excellence of execution. Just saying. I know Bret's recently recovering from some medical issues as well, so get well to you soon, Hitman. I just kind of felt like, I don't know. I think what bothered me that didn't happen was I think we needed an in memoriam segment. I mean, they do it at the Academy Awards every year. I know they can't show everybody, but I think, focusing on certain people who had passed. I mean, we did get clips of people in the retrospective that we saw at the beginning, including people that aren't with us anymore, like Eddie Guerrero and Chyna and, people like that, Kurt Hennig. And that was nice. I mean, that was like, oh, wow, that's awesome. I mean, obviously we weren't going to get one specific person. We weren't going to get Chris Benoit. We all knew it. And I'm not touching that either. But I don't know. I just kind of think an in memoriam segment would have been nice. But that's just me. And I probably would have sat there and cried. So, but that's me. I get very weepy about stuff like that. So anyway, moving on to the next evening, which was the 23rd of January. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes and I just dropped my notebook. Sorry, back now. SmackDown was coming from Washington, D.C., and we kick off the show with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Ugh. Just so much meh. Cannot deal. I realize this isn't a nice thing to say, because I know Sami Zayn is probably away from the ring when he's not in character. I'm sure he's a lovely person, but mother of God, I want to slap him. I want to slap that stupid hat off his head. I want to slap that beard off his face. Mother of God, I want to slap him. Kevin asking the question, do you know what we are? To which my response was the best excuse for women to use birth control? You're the excuse that so many women have taken the veil? I don't know. It's become nuns or anything? I don't know. Out comes AJ Styles after more Kevin and Sami bloviating, because he just can't deal with it anymore. And to be perfectly honest, neither could I. AJ winds up getting goaded into a match by Kevin and Sami using footage from a few weeks ago that he's going to wind up having to fight. He gets goaded into it, like I said, fighting both Kevin and Sami tonight in one match right after the other. Out comes Daniel Bryan, and AJ's looking less than enthused because he's of the opinion that AJ's of the opinion that Daniel is in cahoots, or at least sympathizes with Kevin and Sami, and I'm not entirely sure he's wrong. And it doesn't, when Daniel starts trying to say stuff, AJ kind of shuts him down and like, I don't really want to hear it. I don't trust you, and I don't really, believe in you anymore. In the back, we see, Shane and, Daniel talking, and Daniel says that he wasn't going to sanction that match, but, AJ wants it, so it's going to happen. We have a match between Jey Uso, who is accompanied by his brother Jimmy, versus Chad Gable, who is accompanied by Shelton Benjamin. And one of these days, I'm probably going to care about Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin, but it's not today. The match ends with Chad Gable getting the win over Jey Uso. We have an interview with Renee Young interviewing Shinsuke Nakamura. I think Nakamura just amazes me. The guy is just so, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to use the word weird, because it's not that he's weird. You definitely could see this guy in front of a crowded arena with a microphone just singing his heart out. He just has that total rock star vibe. He's trying to do a really good interview when Baron Corbin decides to stick his nose in there and pretty much tell Shinsuke that he's all hype. To which Shinsuke is like, well, let's find out about how much hype I am. Let's have a match tonight. We have Ty Dillinger talking about last year's Royal Rumble and how he's coming up in this year's Royal Rumble. So we'll have a whole bunch of people yelling 10. So we know that before the match even happens. Following that, we have a match between Naomi and Liv Morgan, who has Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan in her corner because they're all part of the Riot Squad with 2 T's. How edgy. It's really crazy. I love Naomi's entrance. I really do. Even though I can only watch it for about 5 seconds, I'm always like, oh wow, that's so awesome. Oh, it's so cool. Ow, I have a headache. I'm getting too old, I think. I'm just getting too old. But I think it looked really cool. Naomi winds up winning. After the match, she is attacked by the members of the Riot Squad, and the save winds up happening from the other ladies on SmackDown, and it turns into a big fight. Looked like the bridal gown sale of Filene's basement. At the end of the fight, Charlotte Flair comes out and jaws with Becky Lynch for a little bit. Match number 3 was Shinsuke Nakamura against Baron Corbin. It was an awesome match. So much back and forth. Really incredible match. And then we get fucking Randy Orton showing up out of fucking nowhere to, deliver the RKO first to Shinsuke, which winds up the referee rings the bell because that's considered outside interference, obviously. And the match is given to Shinsuke as disqualification. And after the match is done, Orton gives Baron Corbin an RKO as well, and then climbs up on the ring post and does his stupid release the doves pose. That's what I've been calling it. I don't know what else to call that damn thing. I mean, every time he does that, all I can hear in my head is somebody going, release the doves. I know, I'm not well. I know. We had a recap of the Raw 25th anniversary special, which was very cool. If you missed it, I can't see how any wrestling fan would have. We come back to the New Day, who cut a promo in the ring and are joined by Bobby Roode, the glorious Bobby Roode. I really didn't think that was going to work. I was like, how is he going to fit in with these guys? And it actually worked really well. They were actually really funny. Which led to the next match, which was Bobby Roode, Xavier Woods, and Kofi Kingston, Biggie on the outside and at the announce table some of the time, against Aiden English, Rusev, and Jinder Mahal, with only one of the Singh brothers. The other gentleman is currently out of action because he had surgery on a torn ACL, I believe, so get well soon, other Singh brother dude. Obviously, because that's real life and that's not cool. The winners of the match, to the surprise of absolutely nobody, were Bobby Roode, Xavier Woods, and Kofi Kingston, and we get all of the shenanigans that the New Day is famous for, and Bobby joining up with that really quickly, which was just really strange, because I've never pictured him as the shenanigans type. And so help me. I know he's only doing his job, and he is the heel announcer, and that, that's his job, and I get it, but I really want someone to hit Corey Graves in the face with a brick. I mean, I've really hit that point. I mean, there it is. Sorry. We have following that is the first of 2 times we're going to see AJ Styles in the evening. AJ going against Kevin Owens. Shane McMahon tells Sammy if he goes anywhere near the ring during Kevin's match, he's going to lose his opportunity to try and get the championship on Sunday at the Survivor Series, and it's that Shane will fire him. And he says the same thing holds for Kevin during Sammy's match. Which makes sense when you think about it. AJ's first match was with Kevin Owens, and AJ winds up winning, tapping out, making Owens tap out to the calf crusher. The thing is, after the match is done, AJ doesn't take the hold off right away, and Kevin's, doing the whole, oh, I'm hurt thing. And we get the match afterwards being Sami Zayn versus AJ Styles, with a shit ton of cheating and just basically the heels going over with help from each other. Sammy winds up winning the match, and after the match, Kevin Owens gets in the ring. Both of them are standing over a prone AJ Styles, and we wind up going to credits. Good show, leading up to, obviously leading up to the Royal Rumble this weekend, so that'll be really fun and awesome to see. Everyone's predicting stuff about the Rumble, who's gonna win, who's gonna show up, and stuff like that. Do I know who's gonna win? No. Do I think I know who's gonna win? No. I don't. I very rarely make predictions about stuff like that simply because I suck at it for the most part. I'm just not good at it at all. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. I hope everybody tunes in. Don't forget, special start time, 7:00. And that is going to wrap up my show here for this week. I hope you enjoy it. And I hope if you have any comments or questions or queries or complaints or anything you'd like to send my way, platinumroselle@yahoo.com, and I will definitely read it. I hope if you are a fan of our other shows, you will check them out as well. Our other shows in our little family include Subject Cinema, which is TC and I's movie podcast, where we talk movies and do all kinds of fun stuff. Front Row 5 and 10 is our list show. We'll pick a list of two 5s or one whole 10 list and talk about that. This week we're talking about our top 10 fictional universes. I think that is going to be a lot of fun. There are the single shows that TC and I have. I have my own other show, single show. It's called Platinum Rose's Garden. It is my Supernatural podcast, talking about the CW show Supernatural. If you're a fan, I hope you go check that out over at PlatinumRosesGarden.com. TC has a couple of shows, a couple of mini shows and one long show. Catastrophe Vortex is his other show. He is a disaster movie junkie, so if you are into movies about floods and fires and earthquakes and all that crazy stuff, you can go check that out. He's very knowledgeable about that. He also has Tuesday Digidex and 3-Day Weekend, which are shows that he does every week, talking about new media releases, and you can check those out so you can plan out your weekend or what you want to spend your money on. And if you could please check out Cavebabble, which is done by some friends of ours, Eric and Valerie Lyon, and also Comic Grotto with Aunt B and Pee Wee. They're really two awesome dudes that talk about comics, and they're really fun and great guys. So I hope if you like my show, you will subscribe. I hope you'll share it. I hope you tell other people about it. And I hope that everybody has a terrific rest of the week. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Rumble this weekend. And this is Platinum Rose Lady, Kim Brown, signing off for Ring Around the Rosie. See you later.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.